Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I am Tahir Dhindsa and you're watching SDTV. Pakistan has just won a 4-day-long war with India, primarily using the backbone that the Air Force has. Other military components and the other services also were coordinated, but Air Force has done a miracle. 6 or 5 or 7 kills, Western technology, very proud people flying them from the other side as well. But without a single loss they have done. And then the sorties they have done, I mean, that has broken the back of the enemy country of Air Force. And they practically ensured that now there should be some ceasefire because they agreed on that. So it's no less than a miracle. Otherwise, a full-fledged war, the ground and everything was, it was hanging on Pakistan like the sword of Damocles. But that has done. What that miracle is and how that actually manifested and what are the stories and how we can keep up all this. Instead of telling us myself, we have asked a guest. But before that, just for the backdrop, now at this time of the, the century, at this time in history now, there is an elite bargain. Like the elite bargain, which was done after the Second World War, we called it Yalta between the permanent 5, and we have been living in Westphalia and all that for this long, which the West has been dominating. Today, Europe seems to be separated from, but not very in a particular way, but China, Russia and the US. In our region, these are the 4 big players. Europe $20 trillion, US $25 trillion, China $20 trillion. Russia is about $2 trillion, but it's a mighty power that has defeated the Western technology in Ukraine. In this elite bargain, Pakistan is an important region because China is the one that the US want to contain. And India is their partner, Indo-Pak, Indo-Pacific and the Quad. We all hear that. And when the war became very painful for the Indians, they went to the US and asked them to arrange a ceasefire. Before that, J.D. Vance, Vice President, I have personally seen that interviews, he was very adamant, no, we are not going to participate. We don't, let them sort them out. Because the impression was that India would sort it out at their term, at its term. So it's not a small thing which is happening. So what is this, during this elite bargain, where does Pakistan stand? And Pakistan has, it seems that it has emerged as an important, it has regained aura and everything. We have today with us a very eminent person, a scholar and a Air Force General, Air Marshal with us. And instead of telling him, we have asked him to give this first version of history for our audience. Air Marshal Sahab, very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Please say a few things on as a basic premise on that we have what I just said, and we'll rumble on.
We will come to the brass tacks.
Right.
You said a miracle. Yes, it's a small miracle that Air Chief Marshal Sidhu has pulled off. Before the conflict started, he had given 2 messages to the Indians. Number 1, please, we have trained very hard with whatever we have inducted, and we are going to hit very hard. And number 2, he had said, please do not expect, like 2019, a graduated, calibrated, proportionate response. Mujahid Anwar, in order to avoid escalation, he said, we will not damage them too much. Like the JF-17 that struck Rajouri Brigade Headquarters, the reticle, the tracking symbol was on the brigade headquarters. Last moment, the pilots took it away 4 to 5 kilometers. And we didn't actually take out the, had we taken out, probably there was a 2-star or a 3-star sitting there. I think all hell could have broken loose. Number 2, the entire nation saw the DCS operation show the H4 strike on Nowshera depot. Again, the armament depot clearly targeted. Last moment, the tracking symbol taken away by about 4 or 5 kilometers. Had we taken out the Nashara depot, which is a big target, I think escalation ladder could have gone out of control. No wonder. And of course, we had laid an ambush for them of F-16s. What had actually happened that on 26th night, when they attacked, on 26th morning, they thought, because the Prime Minister had said, we are going to retaliate, we are not going to think. So there was a wall of air combat patrols, all aeroplanes, AWACS, EW, so on and so forth. When this did not happen, I think hubris took over. And on 27th morning, when Mujahid Anwar attacked, at 10 o'clock broad daylight, they had, of course, quickly, they summoned combat air patrols of fully armed Sukhoi 30s, Mirage 2000, MiG-29. They quickly scrambled MiG-21s, Bison from Srinagar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Abhinandan was shot down. And because of intense RT jamming, other aeroplanes turned back and went away. So that is what exactly happened. When Sidhu called, he said, I'm going to hit hard. He had inducted, you remember, Modi had said, he wished that he had Rafales.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have lost Abhinandan, he wouldn't have lost the Sukhoi.
Desh ka bada nuksan hua hai.
Absolutely.
He said.
So he inducted 36 Rafales. That's another story why he inducted, because they needed that. And we had JF-17, so we're quite happy with it. So to offset the balance, Sidhu quickly inducted the J-10. Within 6 months, he trained his pilots and took J-10 into combat in Operation Marg Bar Samachar as top cover. During this operation, he fully well knew that the attack is going to come on 7th night. So when the force started to assemble, they vectored their combat air patrols, they scrambled more aeroplanes. 70 aeroplanes came from their side towards LOC. Had we not reached LOC, line of control, they probably would have pipped off their air-to-surface missile, would have turned back, they would have gone back, and Modi would have said, thank you very much, success, victory announced. But to their bad luck, our package of 26 to 30 J-10s and F-16 reached. And by the time they fired their weapons, I think they fired their first beyond visual range missile. We fired. So they had to engage us. They fully well knew by the book that the BVR carried by the Rafale, which is Meteor, is inferior to J-10 by the book, because
it was a claim.
The Meteor is operational. It has been fired in anger. It is carried by the Typhoon, by Gripen, by Eurofighter. It's been fired in various. So it is tried out. PL-15 had never been. But we Pakistanis, Pakistan Airforce, has had the unique distinction of testing all their combat aircraft during war. So this time also we tested. The J-10 simply outranged the Rafale. It had a better radar. It was a bigger radar. When we flew Mirages, etc., there was a Doppler radar which moved the antenna moved like this. In this case, on a big antenna, there are hundreds, if not thousands of small radars, elements which keep going on and off. It has got better range, better tracking, more targets it can track, and the PL-15 is dovetailed with it. The mechanics of PL-15 is that once the target is locked by the radar, that is when he gets indication in his earphones that the missile is also locked. So he launches the missile. Missile is guided by the radar. And at the terminal phase, there is a small radar in the missile also. When that takes on and locks onto the target, that is called the no escape zone. After that, the target cannot escape. The Meteor was known for its very strong no escape zone. But PL-15, like we had predicted, did very well. So he shot 3 Rafales. It shot a Sukhoi 30, it shot a MiG-29. They said, no, nothing doing. But when Air Marshal Bharti was asked, he said, no, there are combat losses and let's talk about the objective which they had never given. When he was asked, did you shoot aeroplanes? So he again said, no, let's talk about the objectives. Now, Praveen Sani had clearly said 5 wreckages. Hindu had picked up 3 wreckages pictures and they later on deleted under pressure. Martin Baker has shown 2 clear ejections on that day. So 2 ejections are confirmed on the Rafale. The Sukhoi 30 and the MiG-29 had the Russian seat, so we don't know. And the third one could have gone down with the aircraft. The DCS operations, he actually gave the RT conversation between Godzilla leader. That was the call sign of the Rafale formation. And he said, I couldn't make out clearly, but he was saying, number 2, where are you? Number 2, where are you? And somebody said he saw an explosion. Words to that effect. So this was history in the making. Biggest ever BVR fight. And I happened to speak with the chief and he was very kind. I said, sir, how did you save your boys, aircraft from S400? He said, I had to save my bachas, my children from S400 also, which is right next to LOC in Adampur, and also make them do the BVR fight. 1 hour plus, never happened at night when there are all chances of disorientation. There were 50 to 70 beyond visual range missiles that flew across, and we shot 5 and we brought back all the aircraft. I think that was what you call a small miracle.
Yeah.
And we wrote history.
Yeah. After that, there were sorties by the Air Force. I was hearing someone saying that there are more than 400 sorties after that.
I am not privy to that, but yes, we flew. We flew air defense caps. But what I know is later on you will have a question about how did we take out the S400, which DG ISPR has said. We took out both of them. When our aeroplanes went to take them out, they were escorts, and escorts again were what? J-10s. And they knew that J-10 is going to outrange any aeroplane within the Indian inventory, and we had trained very hard. So there was, I guess,
so that was done with J-10 as well.
The escort was done with J-10.
J-10.
Because when it's available and it's the best that we have, and we are sending a crucial mission, so we escorted.
And the aircraft that hit, that was JF-17, from which?
Block 2.
Block 2. From that missile was launched. How was that done?
This is now known. CM-400 is an anti-radiation missile, high-speed anti-radiation missile, or HARM. And so the range is about 120, 150 kilometers. You can launch from that distance. And once the missile is launched, it goes to high altitude and then zooms down at something around Mach 4. This is all in the book. This is all in Wikipedia. So I think we took a direct hit on both the sides.
Which both sides?
One is known, which is Adampur, that Mr. Modi visited yesterday to show his face that no, nothing has happened.
S400.
And other one is down south, I am not aware.
That was BrahMos.
BrahMos also was struck by the same missile, but both the sites, DG ISPR has said in his press release, both they had 4 batteries. 2 were on the eastern front and 2 were on the Chinese front. So the 2 on the eastern front were taken out. That is when Nick Robertson says they panicked and they went the Washington way and they went to Saudi Arabia and they went to the Turks that they want a ceasefire.
Ceasefire.
Because you see, the entire corridor now was open and anything could have happened. So whatever they may say, but I think that's the true story.
And but what about their missiles? They landed very accurately and all that. The standoff weapons and all that.
In war, these things happen. When they struck our bases, we also struck their bases. I think we have not shown the BDA or a bomb damage assessment. Their missiles landed and they did damage only at one place.
Ballari.
That was Ballari. Because coincidentally, Now, this was good. We must give credit to the enemy where it is due. Please understand, Indian Air Force is a professional Air Force. Same origin, Royal Indian Air Force and Royal Air Force. Noor Khan, Asghar Khan had been flying together in Burma campaign with Arjan Singh and all their pilots. Arjan Singh had been station commander, Kohat also. So they were all, so we have one source. They were, I think, a little more Padaku type, but we had our ideals who? Very, very street smart fighter pilots. Rafiqi, Alam, Sajad Haider, Noor Khan, and so on and so forth. We got 104s during 65 war, so technology dictated a doctrine to us, a doctrine of air superiority. During the 65 war, Air Commodore Kaisar Tufail writes beautifully in his book that a 104 crossed at high speed some formation of Mistier or Hunter or Nats, and there was a Sikh who said, Pajoe, 104 And I say with humility, because Indian Air Force is a professional Air Force. I think J-10C, the fact that it outranged all aeroplanes, including the Rafales, they were reluctant to engage it. Why I say Indian Air Force is a professional Air Force? Because their flying officers, 71 war, they came and gave us combat where, not like Adampur, Halwada, that is 5-10 minutes across the border, Sargoda, Mianwali, and Peshawar, and they gave us good combat. Our sixth shipper went to Srinagar for a bombing run, and there was one lone flying officer, Nirmal Jeet Singh Sekho, got airborne, and he gave a good fight till my personal instructor, Wing Commander Salim Beg Mirza, came and shot him down. He got a Paramveer Chakra. Same Wing Commander Salim Beg Mirza as a flight lieutenant shot Flying Officer Murli Dharan, 100 feet combat right over Peshawar. Today, the Indian Air Force has been weakened because of some very, very poor decision making. First at the ministry by the Babus, and second by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh bitterly complained that they have not given him even 40 aircraft that they were supposed to deliver in January. And mind you, Teja, that was supposed to replace the light combat aircraft, was supposed to replace 5 weapon systems, MiG-21, 23, 27, 29 and Jaguar. Did not replace even one. They don't even have one squadron of the Mark 1 Teja. They have immense problems because they went the indigenous way. Alhamdulillah, the JF-17 came on the drawing board 10 years later. Today we have 6 or 7 squadrons, out of which 3 are Block 3. And I had conjectured that our air superiority missions are going to be led by what? By J-10 number 1, by Block 3 number 2, F-16 number 3. And our ground attack missions will be launched by what? The Block 2, the Mirages, and of course the remaining F-16s. And mind you, F-16 is not written off. It has been through an MLU, midlife upgrade. These are good aeroplanes, and in given situations where maybe Rafale is not there, F-16 will do very well. But as of now, the Indian Air Force is in a slightly weakish position, but they are a damn good professional Air Force.
I mean, we have a vision, obviously. We have some grand vision. That vision is translated into some policy and action, and then we trained. Did we had that vision that the war would be, one day we have to fight war at this scale?
I think the kind of volatile environment that we sit in today, because Modi, in this case, when Pahalgam incident took place, 150 kilometers inside. Baba, it is not Rajouri, it is not Mandar that we are talking of, it is not Punch that we are talking of. We are talking of Pahalgam, 150 kilometers inside, 6 lakh army is sitting in over there, not protected, no police over there, and then foolishly They launch a goddamn FIR within 5 minutes. Until today, they have never caught those 6 people and never shown them. So there are questions. Where is the evidence? Why don't you do an international forensic, international investigation? And they are not ready to answer all this. So they went, so we knew the war is coming. But the good thing I will tell you, since we did not see in 65, 71 Kargil, all forces went like this. Today, all credit to Asim Munir, all credit to Air Chief Marshal Sidhu, all credit to the Naval Chief. They were like this. They were on one single page 24/7. They together fought, and I'm sure we should discuss this question. Together, they fought the drone war. Together, they fought the SSM war. In the drone war, when they launched hundreds, we say that we disarmed 7. They say thousands, but we don't believe that. All the drones that came, number one, they made 2 soft kills. Number one, they disconnected the data link from the controller.
At the parent site.
At the parents, whoever was controlling that. Only one missile, one drone, it went to a new frequency. Second thing we did was, excuse me, the second thing we did was we spoofed the GPS within that. So we gave them new latitude, longitude, so they didn't go to the targets. Wherever they went to the target, they were taken out with guns.
During the last few days, I've been hearing that there's a cyber command and we shut down and there was no electricity in New Delhi and all that. So now it's a weapon of war. How serious that is, and how sustainable that is in future?
Air Chief Marshal Sidhu has done a brilliant job. He set up a separate cyber command. I will not tell you the details, I don't even know them. I have visited that place. It is state of the art. It is all Star Trek environment translated into reality. And it doesn't, of course, say, Scotty, beam me up. No, it doesn't say that. But I think they got into their nodes, not only military, but civilian. Reportedly, there was one base in which they took out the grid. There was no electricity for some time when the aeroplanes probably were taking off or landing. So that is big. Yesterday somebody was saying on television that these things were even being done from satellites, communication satellites. So I think Cyber Command has grown. They are able to hack a lot of websites, and probably it will be a science and revelation in itself whenever who that be we reveal as to exactly what happened. The Indians also, gradually these things will happen. But I think cyber war went on in a big way from their side also and from our side also. But then they have their Silicon Valley, Bangalore. We don't have a Silicon Valley. What Sidhu has done, he's created 3 Silicon Valleys. A NASTAP, National Aeronautics Science and Technology Park in Islamabad, in Khariya, and in probably Multan and in Karachi. And there I have seen personally boys and girls, civilians, 25 to 30-year-old, backpacks, air-conditioned, Star Trek environment, and they're sitting and designing aeroplanes, satellites, algorithms for EW, UCAVs, and so on and so forth. So when the base of niche technologies is not there in Pakistan, a lot of people criticized this chief. This is not the core activity. Our core activity is flying. But when the base is not there, it is always good to create one. So he has created one. I only wish that people continue. I only wish that the prime ministers and army chiefs, in fact, army chief and the chairman, joint chief, when they came, they were aghast what he's created. So we are on the way for self-sufficiency in cyber warfare and in designing technology. So, and to top it all, I'm telling you, this is no information. The very next day of combat, probably, the Chinese defense attaché, air attaché, they went running to air headquarters. And they probably said, sir, thank you very much. Because today, if J-10C cannot compete with Rafale cannot compete with J-10C, that was brought in as the prime ship. I mean, how is Europe or America or India going to compete with their godfather, the J-20, and its derivative, the J-31, the J-35, and the sixth generation aircraft that is already flying?
Bazookas.
The bazookas. So it is what we have done is, Modi has also launched a new normal. We will conclude with that because we must decipher that. But I think, I'm sure the Chinese are grateful to us. I'll tell you a small story. When we say that we have tested all their aeroplanes, when we flew F-6, I joined immediately after 71. When an F-6 went for a close support army mission to Shakargarh, it made one firing attack and it was bingo fuel. Bingo is that it must return back to base. So Air Marshal Najib then was a flight lieutenant. He thought, no, this must increase. So he designed just like a lightning of the Royal Air Force aircraft, which had little, and Saudis flew this aeroplane, so they put a gondola underneath. So he designed a gondola. This was manufactured by the Chinese. So one time when Air Chief Marshal Anwar Shami went for a visit, they said, sir, thank you very much. That time they used to be poor. They said, sir, you have saved us $80 million a year. He said, for what? He said, sir, because now we don't fly drop tanks on the F-6. We only fly gondola and it is enough for training. So that is the kind of contribution we have made to the Chinese. So their technology improved by leaps and bounds.
Now they are the leaders.
Now they are the leaders.
They are the leaders. Just very quickly, I mean, I was initially thinking that I am going to a Air Force General and I'm going to ask technical on things, but just as a visionary person and was obviously with some exposure, what do you think that it's an embrace with China at a scale which used to be when the Cold War was and we are on the when the Soviet Union was alive?
Very simple, very simple. They say there are no friends, no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies. There are only permanent national interests. They are playing their national interests. America wants to contain China through India, and China wants to contain India and both America through us. Now that we have done this for them,
we have proven our worth.
I think there should be big transfer of technology, and we should, like J-31, 35, so they're on the cards. So Air Chief Marshal Sidhu has already made visits, and the pilots probably will go after this. The money will be found from somewhere because now the Prime Minister also knows. And I'm glad that Asim Munir Saab and the Naval Chief, please understand, when H4 weapon came, this was so promising that when...
This anti-radiation.
No. H4 weapon is a terminally guided weapon which is standoff, and it was brought with wings. It glides and it goes. So a lot of development took place, and when we took it to the air headquarters or JS headquarters for money, this was so promising that Army Chief and Army Chief and Naval Chief at that time said, please put our money also into this because this is very useful. And where did it prove its usefulness? 2019 Swift retort. The DCS operation showed to the entire world the film, because when the missile destroys, only then the camera goes off. Till then it is giving all the picture. So we've invested into good technology, and we have given them a good run for their money.
One thing last, having said that, do you think this war is imminent? It has been just delayed. There's a hiatus in which they would regroup and thinking over. And
I will conclude with 2-3 recommendations and conclusions. One, Modi he says he set a new normal.
Yeah, the day before.
Last time around and before that, they said, whoever commits a terror act, so-called allegedly, we will take them out.
And their handlers.
This time they said, their facilitators and their controllers, they will take them also out. So, I think the army chief, the air chief, they need to seriously sit down with the Prime Minister and decipher what exactly do they mean and prepare. Because there have been false flag operation after false flag operation.
After this beat up, what do you think? What is the timeline? When again they'll be ready, the atmosphere would be and we'll forget. What do you think? How much time we have gained in which we can put our act together on the civilian side and the internally as well and all that? How much time is we have? What do you think?
I think one can only conjecture and give a ballpark figure. It could be 6 months.
Not more than
that. There is a terrorist incident, which is homegrown terrorist or whatever way. And but the problem is, please understand, in this conflict, out of the Muslim world, there was only one nation that stood by you. Turkey. That's it. So there is something internally wrong with us. And we were discussing before the program, nation building gone wrong. We need to rebuild our nation in a way that, you see, because there are 20 factions that are opposing one another today in Pakistan. I'll be very honest. There is one group which is extreme right Islamist. We call them Kharjiites. Probably they call us Kafirs. Every second week they come and take out. Army has done a wonderful job. They still train the best lieutenants and the best Jawans. I'm sorry, I've been CA National Defense Course, I am Armed Forces War Course qualified. Me inclusive, nobody knows how to counter that. So please understand that we need to learn to put all these warring factions, linguistic, religious, by caste, color, creed,
all
into one nation. We till now have miserably failed to do that.
Do you think there is some realization at the level where the decisions could be made? One, and do you think at this point in time we have sufficient power that we can control the inertia, the Scud missile of all this narrative and all that we can change direction?
I think it is possible with the tools that are available. For example, we must understand, in the globalized world, 30 years back, there was a guru called Thomas Friedman. He said globalization is the confluence of what? 3 democratizations: of technology, of information, of money. Nobody can stop the flow of this. We tried that in Pakistan. Modi tried that in India. Trump has tried his very best. You can't control social media. You can't control the flow of information. You can't control the flow of technology. Use the flow of technology, use the flow of information. For example, please make it the Qaid-e-Azam of its true founding fathers, Jinnah, Iqbal, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. We were only discussing it. I will just give the opening statement of Surah Hujra, ayat number 13. O mankind, we created you out of one man and one woman, and then in groups so that you can be recognized. Nobody is superior to one another, Arab or black or white, over non-Arab, except taqwa, that is integrity. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam translated, please understand, nobody taught us this, that the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, translated this in his last sermon, last direction that he gave to us as a directive. Please do this if you are going to get secure. O mankind. So let us translate that. Let us bring everyone into the mainstream and I think that will solve the problem. So it can happen rather quickly. If we put the last sermon, 11th August address, 27th Allahabad address, and Misake Medina into the syllabi, have a debate on the social media, I think perceptions will change pretty quickly. From Pakistan ka matlab kya, la ilaha. That is one input that we have. If we bow in front of no one but Allah, what is the implication? We are all equal.
Thank you very
Only Allah is the supreme. 3 recommendations. Number 1, please through your, I've said on the other channels also, translate this harmony between the 3 services in writing and institutionalize it. That the CGS, that the DCS operation, that DCNS operation should meet every quarter. The moment there is an emergency, they should get together. The chiefs should get together so that there is harmony between the 3. Number 2, please declutter what Modi has said, where he said the new normal, and let's start rebuilding our nation. And number 3 is we must get niche technology and ask China that please, we must get this technology because we've done a favor to you, and I think there will be good transfer of what all they do, because there was a time when we said this toy is do number, this telephone is do number 2. Today they build the best dams, the best bridges in 30 years, 30 years, 3 decades. They've started to build the best buildings, and today we have proven for the Chinese and to the entire world that their technology called the J-10C today will knock out almost every aeroplane in the West, which should worry them. They will take time catching up, but we should get technology so that we can defend ourselves.
Thank you very much. I mean, there are so many things we have discussed, and I don't find a need that I should try to sum it up. But the last 3 things he has said, very important. And the tectonic level, we should must create political and all sort of harmony among the nation. This nation should become one. Internal resolution of conflicts and all this, the pull and push going on. It's also very important. And but the challenges are surmountable. But the God has, I would say, the nature has proved that the Pakistan is a nation, and Pakistan can stand, it can triumph, and Pakistan has good future. This we come to the end of this program. Bye for now.